Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is the first video that you're watching of me, my name is Samantha Hernandez and I am with here my little baby Carson. He's 13 months old and I just recently started this channel, if not for anything else, but mostly I'm creating memories for this little baby. Today's video, I just want to, yeah, come here. Don't touch that. This boy is testing me. So today's video, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the birth of this guy. Come here, babe. He was born at 41 weeks and 3 days old. My pregnancy was fantastic the whole time. I didn't really have any like issues or anything. However, in the beginning when I did first find out that I was pregnant, babe, watch, I know I was really I was really chancing it with doing this video with him here. But when I first found out that I was pregnant, my doctor wasn't impressed. A few months earlier, I had had a procedure done for, look at the truck, cancer cells in my cervix. So I wasn't supposed to get pregnant for like 4 or 5 months. And, you know, she wasn't impressed because she thought that the pregnancy wouldn't last. My cervix wouldn't be able to hold it. So this little guy, he did not want to come out of his mama's belly. He was comfy. So he stayed for 41 weeks and 3 days. Carson, you gotta come over here. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. And Carson, come over here. Look. Go inside here. Go in. Go in the house. So, he's making me lose my train of thought. Anyway, like I said, I'm never gonna be able to do this video with him. The Carson, mommy and Carson, mommy and Carson. You want the ball? Here. You're fresh. Yay! Now we have a special guest. Okay, so that'll make it a little bit easier because he was all up in the camera. So anyway, where was I? Okay, birth story. I had a very huge fear in life, and it was childbirth. So the pregnancy was fantastic, but as the days and weeks and months led up to him being born, I think I was freaking out more because I was like, oh my God, like I have this baby, but how is he getting out of me? So I had processed and, you know, really thought about a vaginal birth. I wanted an epidural no matter what. I wasn't like looking to not have one. So I did get an epidural early on, and I think that that may have slowed me down. I was induced on a Monday night around 8 p.m. and I did not have him until Tuesday night. So about 22 hours, and I did not dilate past 5 centimeters. My body just wouldn't allow it. They induced me with a balloon and a pill to soften your cervix, so you will dilate. Unfortunately, my body just wouldn't go past the 5 centimeters. My contractions when I was being induced were god awful. I can't imagine what contractions are like at 7 or 8 centimeters because I was only at 4 at that point, and my God, they were awful. So after I moved from induction, they moved me to labor and delivery, where they started me on the Pitocin. And the Pitocin is supposed to help you dilate and bring the baby and the birth and all that stuff on. So the problem was that they started the Pitocin, and then I got my epidural like too early on, I think, and I think that may have slowed the process down. But what also slowed the process down was that the baby's, Carson's, heart rate dropped, so they had to stop the Pitocin. So I was not getting the Pitocin anymore for a little bit, so now that was slowing me down too. So then once they saw that everything was okay, they started me on the Pitocin again, and then his heart rate dropped again, so they had to stop it again. And during this whole time, like 50,000 different people came in the room to check to see if I'm dilating or if I progressed at all. And every single time, nothing changed. So it was really stressful all in itself. Just like, you're going through all of this. There's all these people coming in and out. You just want this baby to be born. And although I was very emotional, probably from the moment we walked into the hospital, but after all was said and done, I would have done it, or I would do it a million times. So my birth plan was to have a vaginal birth, of course, but things don't always work out that way. And they didn't work out that way for me because of Carson's heart rate dropping and whatnot. It was probably a little bit before 5 p.m. on Tuesday, and they came in and said they were going to give it about 20 more minutes and they'd come back in and check me again. And when they checked me again, if I hadn't progressed, we were going to have to do a C-section. So what happened was I got a C-section. So they came back in and I hadn't progressed. Not a surprise. I didn't think, at that point, we all knew that it was probably going to be a C-section. My mom was there, my husband, Christian, and my brother was also there for the birth. But my mom and my brother obviously couldn't come in to see the C-section, but they were like right outside the door, and they were waiting to see the little baby be here in this crazy world, but they couldn't wait to see him. And so fast forwarding, they got me all prepped for the C-section. It was really difficult for me, and I was very emotional, and I was crying and crying and crying. And they had told me that I needed to calm down. My heart rate was really high. It was 154 or 153, I think. So it was like through the roof. And so they got me all prepped for the OR and brought me in and got me on the table and whatnot. And, you know, I was nervous mostly about the C-section because I didn't want to feel anything. I was so scared that I was going to feel every last bit of it. And so what they did was, once I was all ready to, like, for it to happen, they had this thing, and it has like a little needle on it. And so like where they make the incision, they like tested it on me, and they asked if I felt anything. And I felt like not pain, but I could feel like the little pinch. But so I told them that I did feel it, and they gave me some more of the epidural, and then I was good to go. And within minutes, and I did not feel a thing, within minutes, my little boy was here. And I'll never forget when they held him up over that curtain. It was like they were holding Simba up, and I could hear the Lion King music playing in the background and his little cry. And I was like, I remember the first thing that I thought, and I think I might have said it, was that his cry is so cute. And so they quickly brought him away and cleaned him up. And the only thing that I think bothered me the most, and it's something that I even still struggle with, the fact that like I couldn't hold him right away. I didn't get to have him. He was brought over, they cleaned him up, weighed him, did all that stuff. They took him away and my husband went with him. So now I'm here laying all by myself thinking like, where's my baby? I want my baby. And I held him for like, I don't even think it was like 30 seconds until they took him and had to do all his shots and all the stuff that they do with them. And I guess after that I laid and I just felt alone in that moment. Like, and I don't know, like it just didn't feel like that was how I was supposed to feel. You know, I had just given birth to this beautiful 8-pound, 4-ounce baby and I was alone. Like I didn't like that feeling. And I still to this day, like it bothers me that I feel like I didn't have a bonding experience with him, because even so after the whole procedure was done and they had gotten me all together, I remember too laying on the operating table after and everybody was gone and I was by myself and I had nobody to talk to. I was shaking uncontrollably. Like when I mean uncontrollably, like crazily, like I was cold but I couldn't stop it. And they said it's just from like all the trauma that your body has endured. You know, it's a major abdominal surgery. So they had given me a warm blanket, which kind of calms down my shaking. And then they brought me to recovery, where I was in, he was born at 6:28 p.m. and I was in recovery until like 10:30. And I was in there and it felt like hours had gone by and my baby was not in recovery with me. And I just remember calling the nurse and I'm like, where's my baby? And they're like, well, they're still getting him all together. And I'm like, well, I want my baby. My husband came down. I'm like, where's the baby? In the nursery. I want the baby. Like, I wanted skin to skin contact with him. I wanted my baby. I wasn't breastfeeding him, but I wanted that feeling, that bond, that the touch, I just missed him. I guess having him, I was pregnant all those months and just having him with me all the time. And I'm like, now he's gone, I want him. And I just wanted to look at him and examine him and like really see like, this is my baby. Like I created him. Like how amazing is that? And it makes me emotional because, you know, like so many people don't understand. You know, like I suffered from postpartum and I'll talk about that in another video, but you know, like I know that obviously isn't the case and it's like so silly because I've only been a mom for like 3 hours, right? What did I know what was going on? But I just knew that I wanted my baby and I feel like I should have like asked why I couldn't have him, or I don't know, it was just all crazy. But anyway, so they finally got us to a room and they did bring the baby to recovery though. So I did have my skin to skin and I did have that experience with him, but I don't feel like it was what I had imagined it to be, you know? So they get me to my room. My husband stayed with me. I was there. So I was admitted Monday for the induction and I went home Friday from the C-section. And the recovery of a C-section is nothing like it's nothing like any other surgery I've had, and I have had quite a few surgeries and procedures done, and this one I think was by far the hardest recovery for the first couple of weeks. Your pain level is very high. It's hard to bend and to do certain things, and you don't want to overexert yourself because it isn't a major abdominal surgery. So you really want to listen to your doctors when they tell you not to lift things and not to, you know, don't go home and get on your hands and knees and clean your floors. Like, just chill out. And you know what? Another thing that was really hard for me, accept help from people. To all my new moms out there, like, it's so hard because when I came home from the hospital, the baby blues hit me, but in turn it turned out to be postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. So you know, for me, I didn't want anybody in my house. Anybody, like my mom, my husband, and if he wanted his mom to come over, that was fine, but I did not want to see anybody. I was a total mess. I was crying and crying for days, hours. I was just very stressed out. And you know, like, I'm adjusting as a new mom. I'm learning my baby, like, as I go, one step at a time. I've never done this before. Just the next morning after the C-section, they want to get you up. They have to wait until your legs are completely, like, you can feel them. So you can't get out of bed. But one thing that I did experience throughout the night, going to sleep, it was very difficult for me to sleep because I was itchy. I was so itchy that I kept calling the nurse, and I'm like freaking out. Because when I tell you, like, I was itchy everywhere, like my neck, my nose, my face, my back, my legs, and I had those blood pressure or those things on your legs to, like, so you don't get any blood clots. I don't know what they're called. So, and they were itchy in there, and I'm telling Christian, take that thing off my leg and scratch me. And he's like, I can't take that off. I'm like, take it off. Scratch my damn legs. I was so itchy. Like, thinking about it is making me itchy. And I'm like, called the nurse. I'm like, I need Benadryl. I need something to stop me from itching. Like, I can't sleep because I can't stop itching. They couldn't give me anything. So I suffered the whole night of itching. And then the next morning they want to stand you up. And I think that initial, like, the first time you stand from it is, like, horrific. It just feels like everything is gonna fall out of you. Like, and I'm not trying to scare anyone if you're, like, going to be scheduled for a C-section, or if you are gonna have a baby and if you need an emergency C-section. Like, I don't want to scare you, but it just feels like, I want to keep it real, and it feels like everything is gonna, like, just fall out. But once you're up, and it's not as bad, and you get moving, and they recommend you walk a lot and keep moving. Like, don't sit still because you got to keep your body going. And I think, like, the first day I didn't do too much walking, and I think that that's what kind of messed me up too. So you take your baby and you walk around the hallways, or, you know, whatever they allow you to do in the hospital that you give birth in. But they allowed me to walk around the hallways. In fact, I set the alarm off on the maternity floor because I went too far. And now all these people are opening their doors like, is somebody stealing a baby? And I'm like, nope, it's just me. Got my baby here. What a disaster. And that freaking alarm is loud. Like, I don't even think I crossed the line. Like, the baby's, like, little bassinet thing that they give you, like, must have just touched the line by, like, a centimeter, and it went boom, like, so loud. But so after a C-section, definitely get up, move around, take your pain medicine. Don't be hard-headed and stubborn like me. I decided Thursday, the day before I was being discharged, I am going to refuse my pain medicine. What was that for? Because when Friday came along and they were going to discharge me and they took my last blood pressure reading, my blood pressure was through the roof. Why, you ask? Because I was in pain. But I said, how can I go home on pain medicine and take care of my child? How can I do all the things a mother is to do and be on pain meds? I'm like, I'm not doing that. So I thought, I'll just go through with the Motrin, stick it out. Yeah, definitely take your pain medicine, and definitely accept all the help around you. Anybody wants to just take the baby and you go lay down for a few hours, so, you know, your aunt, your mom, your sister, your cousin, your best friend wants to come over and spend some time with the baby while you get some rest, definitely accept that help, because it's going to help you in the long run. You need that sleep, and your body just went through a major procedure, a major surgery, so you need to rest. That's my best advice for a C-section. And then on that Friday, I wound up having to take the pain medicine to lower my blood pressure and show them it was just because I was in pain. I was hunched over, like, walking and wanting to just lay back down, but I gave in. I took the pain meds, and I was good to go. Blood pressure reading came back great. They sent me off and I went home with my little nugget and my husband, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Everybody says to, like, after you give birth, you forget about everything. And I think that that's true. Like, you forget about all the bad things. Like, you forget about the pain and all that stuff, but the experience and the memory is in my brain, and it's so vivid. Like, I can remember it literally. It was a year ago, 13 months ago. And I literally remember everything like it was yesterday. Like, I can close my eyes and I just see it all happening again. And I have all these wonderful pictures that you can check those out on my blog. I'll link it below. You can go read my birth story that is on my blog. And there are some photos, first pictures of Carson, our first family photo. So that's a really great blog post. So I'll link that below again, and you should check it out. But that's really my birth story, my C-section experience, and some tips for you mamas who may be having a scheduled C-section or may need an emergency one like I did. It's not the easy way out. Don't let anyone ever make you feel like it is. You did just what any mother would do for their baby to be brought into this world healthy. And that was why I had a C-section, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't want to prolong it. I wanted my baby to be here healthy. I didn't care how he got here, but he was healthy. So don't ever feel like that, and just enjoy it, because it's gonna go so fast. I can't believe a year, 13 months have passed, a whole year. Like, where did the time go? I mean, this kid, he was a little 8-pound baby, and now look at him. He's like obsessed with the camera. He wants to touch everything that's not his. So that's my story. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please comment below, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye.